Hey everyone, it's Cassius, Tryptamine Astrology Readings. Today, we have the exact peak of Mars conjunct Saturn. We have the Sun conjunct the blue star Regulus at the end of Leo, with the Moon trine the Sun to activate this revolutionary conviction type feeling that is characteristic of Regulus, the closest star to the belt of all planets, at the end of Leo and beginning of Virgo. It officially moved into Virgo, the fixed star for the first time leaving a sign in about 2,000 years. So now it's at 0 degrees Virgo and the sun is exactly aligned with this bright blue star. Venus is now at 21 degrees Virgo in the very heart of it, pretty much out of the Saturn square Neptune, and Mercury is exactly conjunct Jupiter, and both of those are quincunx Uranus conjunct Eris. I promise you, Uranus conjunct Eris is extremely important to understand. In the 60s, Uranus conjunct Pluto, Uranus conjunct another large dwarf planet, was the defining transit that purged Pluto, the ideology of the time, Uranus. And from 1965 to 68 especially, Uranus conjunct Pluto in the 60s was what people were feeling, really. It's very similar to the Uranus-Pluto square now. And now, with Uranus conjunct Eris, the political climate, the place of technological advancement and the way we feel about technology, Uranus, this ideological center in the air, this ideological ego, the Aquarius Leo of the air, Uranus, it's conjunct this deep, dark, piercing, intuitive, crazy Eris energy. We're still learning about what Eris does, but I know some things that Eris does, and it's definitely, you see, I think it's like this. I think Scorpio is not just the sign of Pluto, but it's the sign of the dwarf planets. Because every one of these dwarf planets, Haumea, Makemake, Orcus, Eris, they all have this scorpionic, deep, piercing thing in common. But they all have their own unique characteristic. So, Eris. Eris is one of the slowest moving of all these dwarf planets. It's the third brightest after Pluto and Makemake. And Martin Luther King and the revolutionaries of the 60s were born the last Uranus conjunct Eris around 1930. I think Uranus conjunct Eris connects the political climate, the revolutionary climate, the technological climate in the air, all of that to this deep, dark, crazy, super intense scorpionic energy. So remember that every Uranus aspect that's happening in the sky right now is influenced by this Plutonian, scorpionic, deep, dark, piercing, intense thing. That's no joke. That started in June, and I really think that it's fully active. When Jupiter quincunx, Mercury is conjunct Jupiter at 26 degrees. Both of them are quincunx Uranus. There's this flowing circuit between Uranus and Eris to Mercury and Jupiter right now. It's a really strange aspect because quincunxes are awkward, and an aspect between Aries and Virgo is especially awkward because it can make the analytical, drilling, mental feeling of Virgo be lit on this erratic fire of Aries. A Virgo Aries quincunx is particularly frenzied in its analytical coldness. It's kind of hard to describe. So, what do we have today? A lot of conflicting, crazy energy. Mars conjunct Saturn. That is the strangest aspect. Mars conjunct Saturn. Mars is the dead opposite of Saturn. Saturn is the coldest, the most low energy, somber, rigid, structured Capricorn thing. And Mars is the dead opposite. Mars conjunct Saturn is just like the square between Capricorn and Aries. Mars' sign is Aries, and Saturn's sign is, of course, Capricorn. So Mars conjunct Saturn is this thing that is 1 minute like heated and cold and malefically heated in this weird reserved way, and then 1 second it's completely dead of energy. It's like our place of physical energy in the sky is being dampened and deadened by Saturn, but Saturn is being sometimes lit on fire and turned heatedly malefic by Mars. And, you know, with Saturn square Neptune, this whole thing, it's just a watery, surreal, dreamy, bottomless pit that this Mars conjunct Saturn is coming into. This is a seriously volatile, strange, surreal, weird time. Mars is about to square the nodes too, and when Mars hits about 11-12 degrees Sagittarius, we'll feel a huge propensity towards conflict. And I wouldn't be surprised if some strange things went down in the world right now. And, well, this is just the very heart of what I've been warning about for a long time. This is the final purging of this whole Saturn square Neptune. So, survive. Lay low right now, because this is not the time to make any kind of moves. For the next 2 weeks, it's definitely the time to humble yourself, to relax, to not try to overextend yourself. The worst thing that anybody could possibly do right now is try to overextend themselves. No doubt. And on another note, I wonder what will happen when Jupiter and Venus and Mercury can join Makemake. Because I think that's another very deep, dark dwarf planet. And when Jupiter and Venus and Mercury can join Makemake, some very bad things might happen. To be completely honest, I think some very bad things might happen. That's just a guess. I hope it doesn't happen. And I don't think we're going to be phased even if something bad does happen. But I think Makemake is a very dark dwarf planet. So lay low right now. Prepare for the very worst for the next week. Today, the eclipse on September 1st, and a few days beyond that. This is the purging time. This is the craziest time. Prepare for the worst. Be safe. Be relaxed. Much love. Peace.